Karen emptied my ranch's water tank to enforce rules, then found out I'm the sheriff. Water is life out here. You don't mess with a rancher's tank unless you're ready for war. My name is Daniel Granger, sheriff of Cedar Valley County, a fourth-generation cattleman, and the only black landowner on the northern edge of Whispering Pines Ranch Estates. That last part matters because it made me a target. After years of service in law enforcement, I bought the 20-acre spread my grandfather once sharecropped. It was the first time the Granger family owned the land we once labored on. My wife, Jolene, and I poured everything into rebuilding the barn, setting up solar, and running water lines for our small herd. We thought we were finally home. We were wrong. Enter the Whispering Pines Neighborhood Patrol. Not a real HOA, not city-sanctioned, just a cluster of retirees in khaki polos who dubbed themselves community guardians. Their leader, Karen Mallory, a woman with perfect landscaping, a clipboard obsession, and a personal vendetta against anything she couldn't control. Karen didn't like livestock, didn't like barns, didn't like non-standard fencing or rural industrial objects like my water tank. She left courtesy notices in my mailbox, knocked on Jolene's door to complain about the smell, sent her squad of HOA enforcers to photograph the tank from across the fence. We ignored it. The land was zoned agricultural. I had permits. Everything was legal, but that didn't stop her. Last Thursday, I came home after a long shift and found the tank bone dry, tipped, hose detached, valve wide open. The pasture was a muddy mess and my cows were crowding the troughs, confused and restless. Jolene stood by the barn, phone shaking in her hand. She came. She whispered. Karen and her crew said the tank was a blight, that it violated the neighborhood view ordinance. They opened the valve and drained it. I couldn't breathe. It was a 2,000-gallon reserve tank. In July, middle of a drought, it would take days to refill and reroute, and without it, our cows, our livelihood were at risk. Then she showed up again. Karen pulled up in her fake patrol SUV with magnetic community standards decals. She stepped out, clipboard in hand, and smiled like she was at a bake sale. I hope now you'll consider a less intrusive watering solution, she chirped. I stepped forward. Ma'am, I said, slowly and clearly, do you realize what you've done? I've protected this neighborhood's aesthetic, she said. I pulled out my badge. I am Sheriff Daniel Granger, and you just tampered with critical livestock infrastructure. She blinked, then tried to backpedal. I didn't know. I thought this was just decorative. You drained a legally permitted water source. I said, in a drought, during an active state water conservation alert. My radio crackled as deputies arrived. Karen paled. We launched an investigation. Turned out, Karen's fake HOA had been behind multiple water tampering cases across the rural zone. 2 other ranchers reported damage to hoses and theft of pump parts, all under the guise of neighborhood improvement. Her patrol had written dozens of citations, all fake. They'd impersonated utility workers, threatened residents, even cut a chain-link fence around a horse paddock. But draining a livestock tank that was felony level, tampering with agricultural infrastructure, impeding animal welfare, fraudulent impersonation of authority, Karen was arrested that evening. The news exploded. HOA enforcers drained sheriff's cattle water tank, face criminal charges. The footage of Karen being cuffed on a dusty road while cows bellowed in the background went viral. The agriculture commissioner personally visited the site. The governor issued a statement about the abuse of faux authority in unincorporated zones. Karen's so-called HOA was disbanded. Every member investigated, multiple fines issued. She was banned from any civic or regulatory role in the state. Her home went up for sale within the month. But the real healing started with the community. Neighbors showed up with trailers of water. Volunteers helped dig a new line for backup. The Grangers weren't alone anymore. We hosted a water rights and land justice town hall on the property. Over 100 folks came, ranchers, homeowners, even students from the ag college. It turned into a grassroots movement. The county passed the Granger bill, ensuring stronger protections for agricultural landowners from unregulated groups. We added signage across the valley. This land works for us. Respect it or step aside. I still walk past that tank every day. Cleaned, repainted, resilient, just like us. Karen thought she could drain our power, but what she spilled was the truth. And in the end, it flooded her out. The end.